Hey guys, this is 00greenbean00 and I'm back with another battle. This is my first Pokemon HeartGold Soul Silver battle, which is pretty awesome. This was against lilman0992 from Smogon. I believe his name is Lilman. Could be wrong. I'll double check that after. And here we go. So he leads with Infernape, I lead with Fortress. And Infernape is hella scary for my Fortress, so I switch out to the Moo Milk. And I'm not quite sure why I did this. I guess I was anticipating some kind of physical fire move. But anyway, he flamethrowers, and thanks to Thick Fat, that does a hefty chunk of damage, but not as much as it could. He's orbed, and he taunts, and I was going for Stealth Rock, and that fails. So I got a little Lefty's recovery, and I just Body Slam here, and he has Vacuum Wave, which surprised the hell out of me, because I did not anticipate Vacuum Wave at all, and that does a big chunk to the Moo. So I Body Slam, and I do a moderate chunk of damage, so that's fine, whatever. And I switch out here, because that's really scary, and I know he's going to Vacuum Wave, so I switch into Lantern, who can easily take the Vacuum Wave. And then I go for the Surf, and he switches out to Tentacruel, which easily absorbs my Surf, which sucks, because, you know, I was hoping he would stay in and vacuum something, whatever. And we're both getting a little Lefty's recovery. A little leftover. And he sets up Toxic Spikes, and I go for the T-Bolt to see how much I can do. And obviously this thing is very specially defensively based, and it does a small chunk of damage, not enough to be really useful. So at this point I go for the Thunderbolt again, and he predicts me, and switches into Hippowdon, which whips up a Sandstorm. And it's interesting because the more I see Sandstorm used, the more I wonder, like, how good it is. Like, it's good, but also it's also been the downfall of most of my opponents. You'll see why in a few. So I switch out because this thing scares me, and he roars to switch me out anyway. And Fred gets dragged out, and I know this thing has like next to no special defense, so I go for the Flamethrower, and I do a very nice damages. I chop his health in just over half, and he roars me out to Fortress again. And I stay in, and I start spiking, and he sets up Stealth Rocks. And the thing I hate the most about these guys is, I Rapid Spin to blow away Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes, because both are bad. And what I hate about these guys is that they roar, and that's all they do. They just roar, and they switch you out. It sucks. Anyway, so I've set up Spikes. He went to sleeps, and then he has Lumberry whatever to remove his sleepiness. And I just Rapid Spin to get rid of his Stealth Rocks again, because I know he can just keep Stealth Rocking me, and I can absorb every Earthquake that he throws at me and just blow away his rocks. And he gets a crit here, which it's not that important. I set up some more Spikes, and I'm eating Lefties, and I question how Fortress can eat leftovers because it has no hands. And I switch to Mismagius to absorb the apparent Earthquake that I know is probably coming. And Sandstorm's useless because I have Lefties, so I just recover everything I lose. And I just go for the Shadow Ball because I know it doesn't seem to have anything else that it can do, because it knows Rest, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and Roar. So it has nothing else that it can do, so I Shadow Ball, and then I Shadow Ball again to go for the 2-hit KO, which is sweet. So that takes care of this annoying Mudda with his roaring. So yes, and the Sandstorm rages, and it buffets me. And I eat some leftovers. Yummy. And he brings in Weavile, and Weavile is scary because it's fast and powerful in attacking stats. So I switch out to Fred to absorb whatever, and in this case it's a Night Slash. And I take the Night Slash very well because I'm Steel types. And he switches out, fearing my Fred, as I go for the Flamethrower, just to try and knock her out. And Tentacruel also absorbs the Flamethrower pretty well, because, you know, as I said, specially defensive, and plus it's not very effective. That sucks. And I believe I switch. Yes, I switch to Lantern to absorb the Surf, because Lantern can obviously eat Surfs for breakfast, just like leftovers. And it does like next to nothing. And, you know, Sandstorm and leftovers recovery from both of us, and yada yada yada, all that jazz. All that thing that takes long and has no words to fill. So he switches out as I go for the Thunder Wave, and this is very good. Again, I get to paralyze a Sceptile as it comes in, which is freaking awesome, because Sceptiles are hella fast and hella annoying. And this is also a nice little interesting niche that I noticed, because I noticed that a Sceptile had leftovers. That must mean it's a Subseeder, and I never got to see it use Substitute or Leech Seed, but it had the moveset for it. So I switched to Arcanine, hoping that maybe it had a physical attack, but it had Energy Ball, which sucks, but it's not going to do a whole lot to Arcanine, because Arcanine actually has pretty good defenses, surprisingly. And so I go for the Flare Blitz, and he switches out to Tentacruel, but either way, Tentacruel cannot handle the Flare Blitz with spikes on top, so Tentacruel goes to sleep, or faints. You know, it'd be interesting if they could die, although that would probably suck. Anyway, it gets recoils, yada yada yada, filling in, and Weavile comes back, and I thought maybe it would have like Ice Shard or something fast that maybe I wouldn't be able to survive, so I switch out to Brains, and I take the Night Slash, and I probably could've, no I couldn't have, he's faster anyway, I would've died. So yes, Brains absorbs the Night Slash very nicely, and I just go for Rapid Spin at this point to blow away whatever, and Infernape switches in, takes Rapid Spin damage, Sandstorm damage, and whatever, and because it's orbed, it's basically dead next turn, so I just switch out to Fred, but unfortunately for me, he Vacuum Waves, and that does a big chunk of damage to Fred, but not enough to kill it, thankfully. But yeah, so his Infernape's down, and that's good for me. So Weavile comes back, and I know this thing's probably still faster, so I don't explode, I just switch to Moo Moo, but he Brick Breaks and knocks out poor Moo Moo. Moo Moo didn't even see it coming. He didn't have a chance to do anything. Came out into the world and just got chopped by a fist. A very awkwardly positioned fist. So I switch into Arcanine, and I just go for the Extreme Speed to revenge kill this Foo for killing my Moo Moo. Nobody hurts Moo Moo. Nobody! So I knock him out. And that's all fine and dandy. The Sandstorm is still raging and hurting me. And now I see Dragonite, and I'm like, oh god, okay. Lantern, just get in there. Let's see if it's physical or not. And it has Extreme Speed. And this puts the hugest dent in everything I can do right now. Because it's probably mixed, and it also has Extreme Speed. So I can't even explode on it like I was hoping to. So my goal was to attempt to explode like when the thing switched back in. But yeah, as you can see, it was hard to pull off. So I just went for Reflect to better my chances of surviving an Extreme Speed. But he brings in back in Sceptile, and at this point I'm just like, okay, Lantern, let's just start firing off paybacks. And so he subs, hoping to set up some sub-seeding, but thankfully I payback. And at this point I know it's just gonna eventually die, so I'm just gonna payback this thing to death. Which is what I do. Because that's how I roll. I pay back anybody that hurt me. Yeah. And I evade the Leech Seed, thank the lordy. Although, this is also my second... Oh, I get a crit there, which is nice, because that knocks him out without having to take a third turn. But, seriously, how could a Fortress dodge Leech Seed? This thing's like a frickin' ball. Anyway, now he brings back in Dragonite, and it starts Dragon Dancing, and I'm just freaking out, because I know it's going to kill my team if I don't figure out a way to kill this thing. So I fire off some paybacks, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to do as much damage as possible, and pray that I find a way to kill it. And so he's D-Dancing, and now this is where I get the luckiest hacks of life. I go for payback, and... drumroll, critical hit, which leaves him with just enough health for Sandstorm to kill him, which was very lucky for me. So good battle, lilman0992, if that's your name again. I got hacks. That was just lucky for me. So rate, comment, sub. I'm not gonna say like because that's awkward, and thank you.